So last week, for those that weren't here last week, just to reiterate, just to go over quickly the Mishnah that we learned, we talked about a case. This is a case of two people that found a talus. Talus does not mean the talus that we wear on Shabbos. It's just a garment. And both of them claim that they found it. Neither of them is willing to give an inch. Meaning that both of them said, they saw it first, we have it, it's all mine. The other guy is a chazer, he jumped in while I was still holding it back and forth. They don't want to compromise. There's absolutely no compromising whatsoever. What do? You have to go to court. Okay, you go to court and the court asks them and questions them, and there's no witnesses to what happened. It's just one guy's word against another, and neither of them is willing to give an inch. So the court says, okay, if that's the final analysis, what we're going to make you do is each one is going to have to swear, take an oath that they own nothing less than a half of the coat. It's a strange way of giving an oath. Instead of saying, I own a half, but they say, we own nothing less than a half. So each of them takes this oath in that form, and they split the coat in half. Splitting the coat in half means they either sell the coat, one sells to the other guy, or the court sells it, whichever way, they split half. What happens in the case of where one guy says it all belongs to me and another guy says half of it belongs to me? Okay, so one guy is not willing to give up an inch and the other guy is also not willing to give up an inch. So they come to court and they say, listen, I own half and I own the whole thing, and Jerry says he owns only half. So they make me swear that I have no less than 3/4. Jerry gets no less than 25%, and that's how we split it. Because the 50%, everybody agrees belongs to me. Even Jerry says it belongs to me, so that's 50% off. The other half we're still arguing about, and I don't want to give an inch, Jerry doesn't want to give an inch, so I get 75%, Jerry gets 25%. Okay, so the lesson is in here, that if you see it, don't give up. I mean, don't try to be a nice guy and compromise, because if the other partner is, the other guy is not willing to compromise, you're going to be out the money. Okay.
The first case, two guys found something.
Right.
And don't they know that if they go to court and spend all this money and spend all this time, it will be divided in half and each one will have to pay? So why do
But maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know, and neither of them is willing to compromise because they feel very strongly about their arguments. And one feels that if he comes to court and explains himself in front of the judge will definitely, since he's a smart guy, the judge will definitely see the error of the other guy's ways, and they'll give him the whole coat. Why do people sue? Think about it. I mean, sue if reasonable people would sit down and try to work out an agreement on something. But instead of going to court and spending all this money on lawyers and judges and waiting, because each person feels that they're right.
So they have to come with more than just say, hey, this is mine. And they're like, no, this is mine. There must be more to it. There must be proof that it's mine.
No, but there is no proof. See, if there's proof, just the fact that, I'm holding the coat and I'm holding it from this side and he's holding it from the other side, and neither of us wants to give up an inch. So that's the silliness of this. The silliness of this is just split it. I mean, if neither was willing to give up an inch, why bother going to court? But of course, they're probably, in 85% of all cases, they probably did come to a compromise. The Mishnah is talking about that case where nobody wants to compromise. No one is willing to give an inch, and therefore the court has to...
They needed a job.
What do you mean?
If they had jobs and were busy, maybe they couldn't worry.
Yeah, but the thing is, then there's a lot of, maybe they were senior citizens retired or something. That's possible. So they had nothing else to do. So they found the coat, go to court. Sure, hey, now I'm busy for weeks.
Susie, it must be my coat.
Yeah, it is your coat.
Because I had a coat missing going back east.
Oh,
It must be that one.
that coat. It must have been that coat. Did it have your name in it? Did it have your name in it, Bob?
No, it didn't.
No, there you go. You see,
Didn't say Talus.
it didn't say talus. You see,
No,
this
but
is
it was a
so here. Well, that reminds me. The first week I got married. I bought a beautiful raincoat. And
Oh, you didn't have 2 nickels to rub.
No, my parents brought me a beautiful raincoat, and beautiful, brand new. It was the first Shabbos after my wedding. I came to daven in shul. Someone took it. Someone took the coat. In the shul. This is 770. This is 770. There's 1,000 people there, and the raincoat looks like every other raincoat. And I put it in a special spot. Gone. So that must be with your coat together in coat heaven.
My mother-in-law bought that Talus for me. It was beautiful.
She got it from Israel.
She didn't kill you?
Yeah, it's killed. No.
Oh,
no,
she didn't-
never found out.
Oh, good. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, so that's the case if both of them are holding on to it. Now we have another case of riding. There's two guys found a donkey, and one guy is riding on the donkey, and one guy pulls the donkey, and again the same thing happens. One guy says it all belongs to me, the other guy says it all belongs to me. They swear, and they split the donkey in half.
And it's a subplot.
What?
It's a subplot about seeing something first and gathering.
Right. Okay. So now then we're going to get to now all of this is the case. All of this is true if neither of them have any witnesses. See, if someone has witnesses and they bring witnesses to court, then it's a total different situation. So if I have witnesses and the witnesses testify that I saw the coat and I grabbed the coat and Jerry then just jumped in to grab it after I seized it, then of course I get it. I mean, then that's obvious. Or if one of them says, I don't want to swear, or we won't swear, or whatever it is, then we split the coat. But if either of them they're so adamant about it, then the court has no other way to go out and just swear and split it. Have a good day. So the Gemara then goes into a lengthy discussion back and forth, as the Gemara is apt to do, about why exactly did the Mishnah pick this case, and why in this case they have to go through a number of different arguments to tell us. And the bottom line is to tell us that seeing means nothing. Seeing is not believing. Meaning that if I saw the thing and Pierre grabbed the thing, who has possession and who's it going to belong to? Pierre. What did we call it? Something is 98% of the law. Possession. Thank you. Possession is 98% of the law. If I have something and I'm wearing something, and Tim comes over to me and he says, "That is my coat." I'm wearing a nice coat, and he says, "That is my coat." So then Tim has to bring the proof that it's his coat. I don't have to bring proof that it's my coat. I don't have to show him a bill of sale or anything like that. Hamaitzi mechaveroi, olav araya. Hamotzi, someone wants to take out mechavero from his friend, any kind of money, whether it's money, possessions, whatever, all of upon them haraya lays the burden of proof. So if I'm at home, if I'm sitting eating on a chair and a table, and you come in and you say, what, that's my chair and table, you have to bring the proof. Now there are some cases where I would have to bring the proof. Let's say if I admitted that I borrowed it from you, but then you relented. Okay? You come on, you said, yes, it was yours, but you gave it to me. Then already, big mouth. It's okay, I have to, because I admitted already that it belongs to you. But in most cases, if it's established that this thing belongs to me and everybody knows that it's mine and I've been wearing it and then no one has ever claimed that it's theirs, and you all of a sudden think that you want to get my coat off my back, you have to bring the burden of proof. That's the way it goes.
Well, it's just like with the artwork that's now going back to the Jews that was really stolen from them.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what? This is you have to bring proof. That's right. You bring proof that it's yours, and they give it back. And they give it back. So
They have enough pressure.
if they have enough pressure, no one wants to give back anything willingly. Hundreds of millions of dollars we're talking about over here, and here we're talking about a coat. So we've established that seeing is not believing, meaning seeing doesn't have any validity within this case. If I saw it first, if I thought about it first, if I wanted it first, that means absolutely nothing. It's the one that actually grabbed it. And the reason why that's true is because in Judaism, in order to acquire something, we established last week, one must make a movement. One must do something. Just the fact that I'm saying to you, what, Charlotte, I'm going to sell you this tractate means nothing. I could retract at any moment. Even if you pay me, we've established last week, even if I took your money, I could still retract. The only way I cannot, that it becomes a foolproof sale, is when you, Charlotte, take possession of this Talmud. That means you take it towards you, you pull it towards you, you do something. It's called a kinyan. It's called making a formal act in order for acquisition. So that's why you'll notice many times, if you ever go to a chuppah, for example, if you go to a marriage, in an Orthodox ceremony, you will notice that the rabbi makes a kinyan with the groom on the ketubah. Because the ketubah, what does it say? The ketubah says, and it gives the responsibility upon the groom's shoulders. Meaning, if God forbid the marriage doesn't work out, he has to pay the bride X amount of money, and he has to pay her from everywhere. Now, he doesn't sign it. There's no way in the ketubah that the groom signs it. Who signs it? Two witnesses. 2 witnesses, but they only sign it after the rabbi takes out either a yarmulke or a handkerchief, gives it to the groom, and the groom takes possession of the handkerchief and lifts it up. Because by doing that, that's called a kinyan. He's doing an act that is validating everything that it says in the ketubah. And the 2 witnesses see this, and the 2 witnesses sign the ketubah, that we saw this, he made the kinyan, he took responsibility, he's going to have to pay.
How do you spell that? K-I?
A kinyan, are you talking about the ketubah or the kinyan? Kinyan is Kinyan, kinyan. Kinyan means to acquire. A what? A kuf. It's a kuf. It's a kuf. So therefore, within Jew, it's very, very important that the rabbis instituted a physical act. Because why? Because you know what? Sometimes you explain something to somebody, then they could come back to tell you, I didn't understand what you said, I didn't hear, I didn't know, you fooled me. No. You take this, and I'm telling you, read through the document. If you have any questions, ask now. Because once you lift it up and the witnesses see, it's too late. It's over. And that's true about every type of transaction. We want to do that because physical action shows ownership, denotes ownership, and the fact that he lifted up the handkerchief, he now owns the ketubah. He just bought it.
So why not lifting up the ketubah itself?
The ketubah is, the ketubah is not finished yet. Only after he makes the kinyan, then the rabbi finishes the ketubah. The ketubah is an unfinished document until he definitely takes ownership of the ketubah. Agree?
So if I'm selling you this cup, you
No, I take this cup.
take the cup.
I take the cup.
And if I
Yeah.
sell you the pen, you take the pen. So if this is a ketubah, why don't you take the ketubah?
Because the ketubah is an unfinished document.
When would it be finished?
Only after he makes the kinyan. Then the rabbi says, okay, v'kanina, I made the kinyan with him, and he writes that word in, then it becomes a certified ketubah. Until that time, it's an unfinished document. And the ketubah itself, it doesn't, I'm sure you could, and the custom is it has to be something that belongs to the rabbi. Because then he's making a kinyan with something that's not, that's not his. So over the ages, they've come out with this custom, of doing it that way.
Of doing it. Someone could falsify. This is a physical act everyone sees.
Everyone sees. The thing is, once he gives it to the kala, she then takes ownership of the ketubah. She takes ownership of the ketubah. So what he's really doing is he's agreeing, basically, that everything it says in this document is true and I accept. And that's why they do it.
Actually, they sell it to the kala, not to him.
No, they give it. It belongs to him. It's his, and he gives it to the kala. That's why under the chuppah, you will notice that the rabbi reads the ketubah, then he rolls it up, he gives it to the groom, and he says, "Give it to her." And once she takes it in her possession, it belongs to her. Because what is the ketubah really? The ketubah is a document that protects her. Doesn't protect him. It protects her. So God forbid, it's like any other document. You want to put it away and forget about it. Because if you have to bring out and start reading the ketubah exactly what it says, you're in big trouble. I don't think I've ever looked at my ketubah. I hope I know where it is, but. Whoever reads the ketubah. If God forbid something goes wrong and I see Chani at night reading the ketubah, then I know I'm in big trouble. I come on one night and because silver from that time, Mom, I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay.
Is her mother all right?
No. Her mother, now that you asked that question, what her mother was, the initial was, but we got back reports this week that she's going to have to go through radiation. Yeah. There's no choice. There's no choice. So, where did we finish? Good evening, Ken. You look very.
I look like I work for the phone.
You
He
very.
should sit by you because he's good.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he looks.
I want to be on the camera twice in a row. Is it from last week, same one?
Yeah.
Yes, so he has it. Okay, Kenny, you probably remember, where did we finish? What was the last line? I know that you had color-coded it in. Okay.
Wow, look.
This is
Read along.
an engineer. You see, an engineer. You can, this. Okay,
It's a good thing I was late.
okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good. Okay, there was one line past this. Okay. So we're one line, Kenny, one line below this is where we're in. We're in the Gemara. Okay. Now the page 1, page 2a, we're gonna see here. He says like this. In the Mishnah itself, did you read through the Mishnah, Charlotte? Did you read a little bit of the Mishnah? Okay. It would help if you read the first lines of the Mishnah. Let's read the Mishnah. Two persons holding a garment. One of them says, I found it, and the other one says, I found it. One of them says it is all mine, the other one says it is all mine. Okay, so the Gemara is asking now, why do you need both of these arguments? I found it and it is all mine, right? Why don't we just say, I found it, it's all mine? Why does it have to be he says, he says, he says, he says? Why do you have to divvy up the argument? Do you see, Bob, what the first lines of the Mishnah? Because last week we went into this in length in the Gemara, and the Gemara is going to question why this is going on.
To define what all mine is.
Right, no. See, so last week the Mishnah said that Ani Mitzasiyah, the reason why he has to say, I found it, and it is all mine, because if he had just said, I found it, could have meant that he saw it. Right. That's why he has to say, it is all mine, meaning that I actually grabbed hold of it. He had possession. So now, if you want to follow along in the English, but how can you say? Where's Rabina? Okay, so now, if you want to go up, if you want to follow along in the English, you're going to look at the right-hand column, smack in the middle, when the sentence that says, but even so. Do you see the, but even so? Go down and right smack in the middle of the paragraph. But even so. Does everybody have that? Charlotte, do you have that? But even so?
The second paragraph?
No, first paragraph. Smack in the middle, but even so.
Must be these expensive glasses that don't see so well.
Yeah, Charlotte.
I mean it,
Ah.
but even so, that's
Okay,
right.
okay. So then the Gemara asks, okay, you have to return them together with the avocado. Then the Gemara says like this, the listener, but even so, let us learn, kulei shali. Let us just say that they come into court and they argue it is all mine. Why do we need to say, I found it? Doesn't that really redundant? What do we mean to say, I found it? The fact is that if I argue that it is all mine, it's obvious that I found it. He says, "V'loi boi ani mitzasio," and then you wouldn't have to plea, I found it. Right? It seems to be extra. Why do you also have to have the plea of I found it? So he says like this, then the Gemara answers, if the Mishnah only argued it is all mine, right? That's all it would have said. Hava amina, one could deduct from this, could mean, hava amina, ba'alma diktani mitzasiyah. The fact that when the Mishnah teaches the word I found it, beraya ba'alma kani. So therefore, even seeing in general is acquisition. Okay, so let's go over this one more time. It's a very tricky slope over here. If the Mishnah would have only said that if two litigants come into court and they both argue it is all mine, without saying the words I have found it, what would have happened is later on in the Gemara, elsewhere in the Gemara, when the words are used I have found it, we would have deducted from that since our Mishnah only is able to split it when you have possession, but elsewhere in the Talmud, what would we have said? Bariya ba'al makani. That seeing is also acquisition. Do you understand? Am I clear in this?
Right.
Okay. Let's go. Let's try one more time. If the Mishnah would have only said, I have found it. Okay? That's all. We wouldn't, no. It is all mine. We wouldn't have used the words, I have found it. We would have deduced from this, that in our case, the reason why they split it in half is because they both hold on to it. But elsewhere in the Talmud, if a case would have come along and said, I have found it, which we don't have in our Mishnah, what would we have said then? That's right. That seeing is acquisition. That's why the Mishnah here has to and has to argue and has to plead, I have found it. And when you say, I have found it, then seeing it doesn't mean anything. Okay? So basically it's the same argument as last week.
So I have found it is really in itself ambiguous. You have to say,
Right.
what do you mean by that?
Right, what do you mean by I have found it? Exactly. The fact that I have found it doesn't tell us anything. It is all mine. Holding it tells us something. I have found it doesn't say anything. Doesn't talk to it. So he says, Bariya Ba'al Makani, Tana, therefore he learns Ani Misasiya. I have found it, Vahadir Tani, and there afterwards he says, Kuli Shali, it is all mine. Okay? And this is all mine. The Mishnah Yisera, that from the additional plea, Ashma'inan, we learn the Riyat Laikana, that seeing is not, you cannot acquire through seeing itself. That's the way it goes. Okay? This is the way it goes. Okay. Now we're going to say something else. Before in the Gemara, last week, what we really said was, both of these pleas are really the same, right? I found that, and it is all mine, is really the same plea. It's not really two cases, it's one case. It's the case of two guys holding on to one garment, and both of them say, I found it, and it is all mine. Right? Is that clear? Right. Both guys say, I found it, and it is all mine. I'm not giving an inch.
I found it doesn't mean you have possession.
Right, doesn't mean you have possession. So now the Gemara is going to go on to a different tract. He says like this, because it's going to say like this. He says, Omi is Amrit. How can you say Chada Ktani, that are really one plea, right? V'ha Ze v'Ze Ktani. We learned that each one of them says Ze Omer Ani Mitzasiya v'Ze Omer Ani Mitzasiya. Ze Omer Kuli Shali v'Ze Omer Kuli Shali. So it seems to indicate where the Gemara is trying to go right now is it's really not one case. It's really two separate cases that we're talking about. Because if it was one case, what would have been the normal thing to do? We would have said, Ze Omer, this one says, Ani mitzasiyo v'kulei shali, I found it and it is all mine. And the other guy would have said, Ani mitzasiyo v'kulei shali, I found it, it is all mine. The fact that the Mishnah splits them up and says, I said, you said, I said, you said, the Gemara said it has to tell us really it's two different cases. It's not really one case. So how could there be two different cases? How are you going to make this out of two different cases? So listen to the way the deduction of the Gemara works. I mean, it's going to split hairs now. You're going to be standing on top of a mountain. You got to be careful. Because if you tip over either way, you're going to fall. Okay? So he says like this. Amar Rav Papa. So Rav Papa says, V'isema, and others say it wasn't really Rav Papa, but it was really Rav Simi Barashi. You know what? That's many times in the Gemara we have that one quoted one rabbi, and then we would quote another rabbi because it could have been heard in two separate places at the same time, and we're not certain which one of them said what. But this is the way it works. V'amrlo Kadi, and others say no, it wasn't Rav Papa and it wasn't Rav Simi. It was actually a fellow by the name of Kadi. Said like this: Reisha b'mitzia. The first case is talking about something that is found, the Seifa b'mekach memkar. And the second case is dealing with an acquisition. Okay?
That's when I said, okay, I'll just go back and he'll explain it also.
All right. This is going to be interesting. Okay? This is going to be interesting. So the first case where we say, Ze oimer ani mitzasiya v'ze oimer ani mitzasiya, one of them said it is all mine, and one of them said it is all mine, is talking about a case where two guys found a garment and neither of them wants to compromise. Okay? So we went through that case. The second case where they say Ze omer kulei shali, one says it is all mine, Ze omer kulei shali, and the other one says it is all mine, is dealing in a case of not someone found it, but there was an acquisition here. Two guys bought the same garment. Okay? Think about it for 1 second. Think about it for 1 second. Two guys bought the same garment.
They both paid for the same garment?
Both paid for the same garment,
But they didn't take
and the
possession.
seller now doesn't remember to whom he sold it to. Okay? You see, this is the problem. They come to the seller and they said, who did you sell it to? And the guy doesn't know. He doesn't remember.
So he sold the same garment twice, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
That's a smart business.
that's a smart businessman. Yeah.
His mother's proud of it.
Now, what it means is, he took a kinyan. And not only the money, but he took the kinyan, right? What we said before. He acquired, both gentlemen acquired it from him, and now we don't know which one. He's come to court and we don't know which one. And both of them claim
They picked it
that
up.
they bought it.
They handled it.
Yeah, they bought it.
Wait, it's not very clear. So
Okay.
again, so one went to the store and bought a garment.
That's
He
right.
paid and he took it.
No, he didn't take it.
So-
Obviously, he didn't take it. No, listen, a guy says, you know what, cow for sale. A guy comes to him and says, I want to buy the cow, and he did it. The other guy says, didn't pay, but he made a kinyan, right? He said to him, I'm making a kinyan, and he slipped the cow. He pulled the cow. The other guy came, and now he did, but he didn't take possession yet. An hour later, another guy said, did you sell the cow? He says, no. The guy made the kinyan, and maybe he forgot or whatever, and he slept the cow. Now both come to collect it. Means he pulled the cow towards him.
But then
He made,
he didn't take it. Why wouldn't he take it with him? To add?
whatever case. I mean, this is an odd case.
He didn't have a cow carrier.
He didn't have. He said, you know what? I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to get my wagon. Do I know? You know what? I mean, it's like a million reasons. It's a million reasons why he didn't take possession of it at that point. But then both come to collect the cow, and both claim they bought it. And he says, yeah, but I don't remember who it was. Who it was.
One has been a woman and one has been a man. They could've re-
Now you see, if one of them was a woman, one man, and doesn't realize, then he's in big trouble,
First come, first serve, right?
right?
And that's kind of different than like if I bought it, left it there, and I didn't take possession of it, and I come back, he resells it, right? I come back, I left this here, I forgot I left this here. You sold it to somebody else. The guy double sold it.
He double sold it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to talk
So
about.
it's left over 90 days, not responsible.
No, but that would be something else. That would be that. See, goods left over 90 days, and he remembers who it was. Then that might be reason for the other guy to get it. You see, it's not a case of. I don't think it's a case of where they both bought it at the same time. They both ran and grabbed it and picked it up, and he doesn't know. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that could be the case that both of them grabbed it at the same time, and he said, "Yeah, it's sold, but now I don't know to who and to what and to where," and that's the way it was.
Day after Hanukkah sale at Nordstrom, two ladies at the sweater rack fighting over. I saw it first. I saw
Yeah.
it first.
Yeah, but it's not because they saw. It's different.
But they both grabbed it at the same time. They
So
both
this
took
is like the
possession of it at
first
the
one.
same
That's
time.
like the first case.
So that's the
That would be like the finding the first case.
The second one is,
But you can't
So
sell,
the sale has already transpired in the first case, or the second case, I should
Right. That's right. Both guys claim that they come to court and they made a kinyan, and he definitely made a kinyan. And it doesn't even. And a funny thing is, it doesn't even have to be that he made a kinyan with both of them. He could have made a kinyan with only one of them, but both claim, and he doesn't remember who it was.
There wouldn't be witnesses?
And there's no witnesses. There's no witnesses. So think about this case, okay? I sold it. Or I didn't even have to double sell it. You know what? All I have to do is forget who I sold it to. And Pierre and Jerry both come and claim it. And they come to me and they say, well, you sold us the cow. And I said, I did. And I sold it to one of you. I didn't double sell it, but I don't remember who it was. Pierre.
That's a lot more real.
No. Jerry. No. Pierre?
well,
Eh.
it was me
you
all
have
the time.
twice.
Oh, it was what?
You have $2 then, right?
No. I only sold it once. Remember, this is a case. I only sold it once, but I can't remember who I sold it to.
So the second guy is not only a liar, but he's
No, you don't know. But which is the second guy?
whichever he is, he's a swindler and a liar both.
But maybe they both thought that they. Maybe they both thought that they.
What do you
And a
mean he
maniac.
thought? If he paid for it.
No, but neither paid. But okay, one guy. Who knows what?
One is a liar.
But even then, you wouldn't
Why
have
is it in
receipts.
there?
No, but it could be that both. Could be that he made a kinyan with both of them. See, it is possible that he double sold it. So it is true that maybe I'm the lawyer. Maybe both of these guys are right. There's no way to ascertain who the lawyer is in this case. It could be I'm the lawyer, could be Jerry's the lawyer,
So for
could be Pierre's the lawyer, we don't know. The other case is that you have a garment, right, in court, and both claim that they sold it. That they're not going to split. You see, if a case in court, a garment was found and both of them claim that they sold it, therefore one of them is definitely a liar, because both of them couldn't have sold it, right? Only one of them sold it. So therefore, in that kind of a case, the court will not split the garment. Will not split the garment. What it's going to do is that this garment will lay in court until somebody agrees to give it up. In the case where the rabbis are certain that there's one lawyer, then they won't split it.
That's
So,
when the oaths come in, don't they?
no, they won't even administer an oath because we know certain there's one lawyer here. See, in the case of finding it, it could possibly be that they both grabbed it at once. Therefore, neither of them has been ascertained as what we call in Talmudic terminology a ramoi, a swindler. But as soon as we establish that one is a swindler, one is definitely lying, then in that case, how could you administer an oath to a swindler? But in the case of buying and selling, who's the swindler here?
We don't know.
We don't know. Could be Jerry is telling the truth. Could be Pierre is telling the truth. So as long as we cannot for certain ascertain that there's an absolute 100% swindler, now could be Jerry's the swindler. Could be he came later and said I bought it, and I forgot. I really don't remember who I sold it to. Could be Pierre. Could be Jerry.
And
I
if
think it
go
was
way
Jerry.
down, it could have
I could it was Jerry.
I can see a lot of ways this kind of case can come up. I don't know what the is. It could be livestock or something, but, there's somebody that says, here's the money, and I'll come back with my truck and get it.
Right.
And the other one says, man, I've been wanting to buy that horse forever. What, you went and sold that horse? Many promised me. Okay, all right. It could be so many back and forth ways and stuff,
And then he forgets.
Yeah, right.
Then he forgets. The key is that, because once he knows
Yes.
and he's lying, then
Yes.
Right? So here's a case of where we don't know.
Yes.
We literally don't know, and we can't ascertain if who's the deceiver here. See, because the moment we know that there's 100% deception, this oath will not help. It just won't help.
Forgetting is a good trait.
Oh, forgetting is an unbelievable trait. Because if we remembered everything, we'd never want to live. Think about it, remember, right? Think about a toothache. We kind of remember what it feels like, but if we were to remember really what a toothache feels like, forget about it.
There would only be one child.
That's it. Oh, remember, childbirth. That's right. That's exactly it.
So what does the court do?
In which case? You split it. Split it. Go split it. Haak zich een kop en wand. They get this from King Solomon.
Yeah, but one gets it for free and the other one...
No one gets it for free.
Well, one person had to buy it.
Okay, so each one gets half.
Didn't a transaction have to happen? Because I got kind of confused here with his example. The seller had to collect the money.
They couldn't know. Only a kinyan was made here. What if only a kinyan was made? Meaning
Is that
that
an agreement?
that's an agreement. Agreement was made to sell.
Okay.
Okay? So I walked up to you, Kenny, and I said, listen, I want that cow, and you picked up the thing. Then Jerry ran by quickly, says, Kenny, I want that cow, and in a moment of confusion, he picked up. You said, okay.
Just because we agree doesn't mean I can't change my mind. You can't.
No. Once you make a kinyan, you're obligated to sell to me.
Seriously.
Yes. You're obligated to sell to me. Now, it doesn't even matter whether you're out of the picture altogether as the seller. We're the litigants right now. Me and Jerry are the litigants. You don't matter anymore. All you care about is, can you tell us who you sold it to? The moment you say, no, I don't remember. I don't remember who I made the kinyan with. It was dark. Yeah. Here's a case. It's a dark in an alley, and me and Pierre. Okay, I'm a little heavier than Pierre. Him is more heavier. Both have white hair. We come to you, Kenny. We want to make a kinyan. Who was it? Was it the rabbi? Was it?
Kinyans a day.
What?
How can I possibly remember
All the kinyans you make a day. So here again, as long as me and Pierre, whoever the two litigants are refusing to admit who was the guy, there's no other way the court can do anything. You have to split it. You got to split the thing in half. Okay? As long as they both claim that I was the one that bought it. I bought it, and Pierre says I bought it, or Jerry says I bought it. Well, all of us are adamant about the fact that we bought it. There's nothing the court can do. Listen, this was taken straight out of the wisdom of King Solomon. King Solomon, when he came... What? With the infant. He said, let's split the infant in half. Okay, the one who didn't want to split it, that was the mother, because, you'd rather, the other one could care less if it wasn't the mother. What did she care if the infant was dead? See, on the other hand, the second part of that story, not many people know about that, there's a second part to that story, that, in times of King Solomon, there was a huge Jewish army. And, and there was a woman that married off her daughter to this guy, to this son, and she had a son-in-law. The guy was drafted into the army. He comes back a couple of years later. There's actually 2 women that are claiming that he's the son-in-law. You married my daughter, and he says, no, you married my daughter. And they both are arguing, no, you married. And he didn't remember which. He was only there one night. Couldn't remember which daughter he married. And both mother-in-law are claiming that this is the son-in-law. So they came to King Solomon. So Solomon said, well, in that case, let's split him in half. So one of them says, yeah, split him in half. And the other one says, no, don't split him in half. He says, okay, the one that said split him in half, that's the mother-in-law. Yeah. That's the true. That's the true mother-in-law. You see, the other one couldn't be. No. The one that says split him. This is the one. This is the one. So sometimes you have to be wise, like King Solomon, to know. I mean, a mother's love for a child is nothing, but the mother-in-law's love for her son-in-law,
I'm trying to think, what is so important that a person couldn't say, man, you want it that bad, you can have it. So, here it'd be, maybe the people in status would have to be a lot, your word would mean a lot, one guy's gonna have to leave town, one guy gets to stay in the town, what would make it worth so much?
You know what, I'll tell you, Jerry, in the Gemara, it's interesting that you asked that question, but we're not trying to get into the heads of the guys. Okay. You see, that's not what the Gemara is all about. The Gemara is trying to ascertain whether if you do not want to compromise, this is what we have to do. That's what we're worried about. The fact that you got a problem, what is going to make you blink? I don't know what's going to make you blink. But as long as you're not blinking and Pierre's not blinking, I got to do something. I'm the rabbi. I got to make a ruling over here in this case. And if you're not willing to compromise, and I'm asking you, willing to compromise? You want to let Jerry have it? No. You want to let Pierre have it? No. It's mine. Then I got to say, okay, forget about it. Just split it. That's the only thing I can do.
From here, you can go pistols at dawn.
It's a worst case scenario. Sure. See, but because if I'll tell you honestly, if they're willing to compromise, then it doesn't have to come to court. What we're worried about now is in court, we have to make a decision. If these 2 gentlemen decide out of court that, what Jerry says, Pierre here, you wanted that much, go ahead and take it. You're a nice guy, congratulations, you're a sweetheart, and have a good day. Don't bother me. But if you're going to wake me up in the middle of the night as the justice of the peace and you want me to make a ruling, I have no choice. My hands are tied. I'd rather you don't come to me. I'd rather go ahead and compromise, but that's not my business. My business is not, whether you're going to get it or whether you're not going to get it. My business is only to see what justice is being done.
To me, it seems like, we got the Gomorrah, we got nice judges, and every other movie just says, pistols at dawn.
But here's two scenes. Both of these guys are also not willing to compromise. Right. It comes to an extreme case over here where they don't want to give it up. Okay, so we have 2 cases right now. Now we have 2 very different cases. One case is where they both found it, right? And the other case is where they both bought it. Or at least they both claim to have bought it. Okay, but both claim to have bought it. So now, the Gemara is going to say, what do you need both cases for? Time out
for 1 second.
Go ahead.
I'm confused because, and I look back here, we talked about an animal in this case, and it's very easy to split an animal. You can cut it in 2.
Right, or you sell it.
Okay, so that could really be anything. You can't cut a sweater in half. You can't cut a car
No, but they make you sell it. The court makes you sell it.
Sell off your half.
Correct.
So
they would say like this.
Loses.
Well, no one's going to lose.
I'm going to get some money, but if I really wanted this PD...
But no, but I'll tell you, but if both guys don't want to give up the sweater, what I'm going to do as a judge is I'm going to take possession of the sweater, I'm going to sell it, and each of you will get 50% of the proceeds. That's all.
Both out.
And you're both out. That's it, and that's what I probably would do. If both of you don't want to compromise, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to take possession of the sweater, and neither of you are going to get it. I'm going to sell it to a third party, and you deal with him.
And you can't be that third party.
Who?
Yeah, I'll sell it to anybody else but you 2.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Divorce courts in the community property, right?
That's right. You know what? They don't want to compromise. You so we'll sell the house. We'll sell the house. I mean, it's sometimes people just get stubborn, and and it doesn't even have to be in the cases of lost and found. I mean, we know cases of where you're in an argument, and instead of saying, you know what, just forgive and forget. Okay, no. What we do is we cross our arms and we dig in our positions deeper and deeper and deeper. And now we're like World War I, where we're 2 feet away trying to annihilate each other. It's like Pierre said in a divorce case. Most divorce cases start off with nothing. With a molehill. Next thing you know, it's a mountain. Next thing you know, it's a nuclear war. For what? No one remembers what the original war was about. But all I know is I'm a war against her. I'm not talking to her. I'm not negotiating with her. I don't want to give her anything. And then, but that's when people become stubborn. But as far as the court is concerned, we can't. Our job is not to judge the emotional attitudes of these people. Our job is to come to some kind of a resolution to the matter. And the only resolution is to sell the sweater to a third party and you guys split it. Shame on you. You can't. Why do you have to take God's?
For bringing it here in the first place.
Yeah, shame on you for wasting the court's time. But
Well, that's the purpose of the court.
that's what it is. This is what it is. That's what it is.
Well, no, if we were a little more mature, it wouldn't be the purpose of the court. There must be,
we
important
are.
issues that.
But
Yeah, but like in the Old West,
you'd rather have a court hearing.
civilized way of.
Right. You'd rather have a court hearing. Now, there's many times where there's misunderstandings, and misunderstandings turn into lawsuits. You back into a guy's car, and you think that, if I go back into some guy's car. I remember, it was a couple of years ago, I hit somebody. I was coming out of I'm making a left turn. I was looking at the left to see oncoming traffic. I didn't notice the car from the back. I hit a pickup truck. Okay, hit the pickup truck. I go out there. I immediately took responsibility. It was my fault. I wasn't looking. Okay, it was a scratch on the door. Okay, fine. I gave my number. I gave no reason to call the police. I gave them my insurance, everything. I come back with a bill of $800. $800 a bill. I said, I told the guy, come on. He said, well, they scratched the door. They have to replace this. They have to replace that. Well, that's it. So insurance paid $800. My insurance went up. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I could have fought it in court. I could have said, you know what? Okay, I'm fighting it. Okay, go to court. If I was a stubborn guy, if I was like one of these guys in the Mishnah, I would have come to court and I would have fought it and I would have brought pictures and I would have screamed and then hired a lawyer. And when I would have spent that $5,000 on my lawyer not to pay these people $800, I would have got off $200. You're right, Rabbi, it's only $600. So it ended up costing me $600 and I feel good. I'm a victor. I won in court. You see, but that's the way people are. Aren't there people like that who will go to court and fight you for a penny, but it's going to cost them $10,000? And the people say, I don't care. Let it. It's the principle. They say it's the principle.
I do expert witness, and there was a millionaire in Laguna Beach, and he had a custom home, and he complained there was to the contractor there were problems. The contractor was stubborn. He didn't want to fix anything. It was like maybe $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to do. Well, the owner got so angry.
He sued him.
He sued him. $30 million.
He won.
I don't know.
For $30 million he sued him?
Oh, he has so much money, it got to the point where he had to, because he got people to find other things that were wrong.
You can have it off for 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the builder was stubborn, and he could have fixed it.
And did he win? Did he win, the builder? I mean, the owner?
No.
The owner won $30 million.
I won something, but but the claim was $30 million.
Welcome to America. What a country. I'm telling you. Okay?
To take possession is, I'm sure it was just the olden days when if you buy something, you just lift it up and that's it.
Right. That means you agreed to sell it to me. You made a kinyan, you agreed to a kinyan. It's like a handshake. Tkiyas kaf. It's called a tkiyas kaf. You shake a hand. You made a. Now today, well, a handshake doesn't mean anything today. Today, but in the olden days, a handshake was a tkiyas kaf. It meant in the diamond business, they shake a hand and they make an agreement. Now you go back on a handshake, you're going to be ostracized. But today Today you need lawyers reading over your contracts, and then lawyers to back up the lawyers who read over your contracts. I mean, it's today we became very, very, very litigious.
Which is an example how this will not fit today. Or not fit.
Well, this is a
Yeah, well, you know what? Of course, in the case of, when you lift it up, if you go to Macy's and you lift up the dress, doesn't mean anything. Who cares? Macy's only knows one thing, and that's cash. And even with cash, you could return it. They have policies where you return it. So even after you wear it to the Oscars, you could run back quickly and give it back, and and say you never wore it. It made you look fat, and you sue Macy's for $30 million because it made you look heavy. But that's the way it goes here in America. But so commerce is very different. Commerce is very different today, but not so different. I mean, we still have the basic principles. You pay, it's yours. You take it possession. I mean, those are.
But not in a basis is correct, but in a contract sale,
Yeah.
where I had to ink a deal.
But-
The seller could be totally out there, not remember that he had two people sign a contract, right?
It would be strange.
It would be, because the contract has to be signed and dated.
Correct. It would be very strange, and that's why a sale is not, like in a home, is not final until you record it. You could sign 1,000,000 contracts. Who cares? Unless you record the deed, it means nothing.
It doesn't even need to be
Means-
that. I went to the store and I got it, every cash register today plots out the date. I could have sold it twice on my cash
Right.
register. You bought it October 7th, or what's today, May 17th, or May 18th. The receipt's gonna tell the story who bought it first.
That's what it is. That's what it is. So then he says, so the Gemara then asks a question, why do we need both cases? If this is true, that the end result is that what? They split it 50-50. Why do you need two cases? Why do you need the case of lost and found? And why do you need the case of acquisition? So the Gemara is going to explain now. Okay, sorry, now we're going to need page 2. We finished page 1.
Now, this is the beginning of this part of the Mishnah, right? This is the chapter 1.
This is chapter 1 of Baba Metzia. Yes, it is.
It gets juicier as it goes along.
Oh, now it's going to get really juicy. It's a Metzia. Okay, you know what? Does everybody have page 2 or not? Charlotte, do you need the Hebrew to page 2? No. Or Mom? Does it help the Hebrew? Would you like the Hebrew or just the English? Here's English first of all.
Do you see like an NSA monitored phone call? What? Do you see like a monitored phone call?
Will they be on my phone bill?
Pen? Take some.
Were they monitored?
I'll put it down. Do you have Susan? You want to take page 2? Bob, you want this is the Hebrew to page 2. Okay? Yeah. So he says like this. It is necessary. Why? The utzricha. We need both cases. Now, let's turn to page 2. Wow. I can't believe it. We got there so quickly on the first shot. We got to page 2 already. I'm worried. We're going to finish this whole Masechta. And then I'm telling you. The Tana Mitzia, because if the Tana only dealt with the case of finding, right? Hava Amina, I would have thought Mitzia only in the case of acquisition. Hu derami Rabban and Shvu alel. Then the rabbis impose a oath upon the people. In the case of finding it, I say, you know what? There's no way that they want to compromise. Okay, take an oath. Mishum, why? The Mari v'Amar, the guy can console and say to himself, Chavarai, my friend, lav mi di chasr is not losing anything out of it because he didn't really invest anything into it. He doesn't lose anything, right? It's a found stuff. Ezel v'itvis v'ispalig. Let me go, grab it, and we'll split it. Okay? I'm sorry, Pierre, do you have page 2?
I got 2 pages of 1.
2 pages of 1. Oh, you're really into page 1. Okay, so here's page 2. Okay, here's page 2. Here you go. So you see. Oh, well, here, 2B. 2B or not 2B? Okay, that is. Okay, so here you hear what's going on over here. If the case of finding would only have been taught. If we only would have learned the case of finding, what would have happened? The fellow would have said to himself, listen, I'm walking down the street and I see Jerry running towards an article, and the article is a lost article. It doesn't belong to Jerry. He found it. I think to myself, okay, you know what? He didn't invest anything into it. He's not going to lose anything. Let me go and grab it, even though I know myself that Jerry found it before me. But I justify it by saying, listen, 50% is better than nothing. The guy got 50%. Come on. He just found it. So why should I not benefit from it? So there is a possibility that the justification will allow me to kind of bend the truth. It will kind of bend the truth because I say, Jerry, isn't 50% better than nothing? And he says, he's such a nice guy. You see, Jerry's a nice guy. I would want to get him in court because he's a nice guy. No, you're supposed to say to me, no, Rabbi, 100% is better than nothing. I saw it, I grabbed it. You're the ganif. That's what you should say. Don't be such a nice guy. So what I say to myself about Jerry, 50 is better than nothing, right? Then let's say the coat is worth $200. He walks away with $100 for nothing, for just finding it. Therefore, the rabbi said, okay, you know what? You're going to take an oath. You're going to take an oath. Because that will wash out those people like me who kind of, with the justification that half is better than nothing. So hopefully, if the rabbi looks in my eye and he says to me, you know what, Perelmuter, you're going to take an oath. And I start to quiver and shake and hesitate and start to stammer a little bit. Then he knows, the rabbi, if he's a sharp rabbi, he sees something is going on. Okay? But why will that help? Because even if I'm going to justify it, will I go to the point of lying under oath? That's a heavy one. That's a heavy one because then I'm transgressing on the third commandment of the 10 commandments, holding a Torah. So that's a little bit more serious. So in order to eliminate that possibility of someone coming and kind of twisting the truth a little bit, you know what? I saw it, but I thought it, but listen, Jerry's a lot quicker than me. It's my fault that I'm overweight and Jerry's in good shape and he beat me to it, so I'm going to just claim, hey, I found it too. But I know in my heart of hearts that he grabbed it before I did. So therefore, an oath will help, right? An oath will help there. But when it comes to the case of acquisitions, of buying and selling, right? One cannot use this, one cannot apply this argument. He's got nothing to lose, better half. What do you mean? I bought the whole thing, right? There's no way that this argument can apply to say to myself, I'm going to justify, you know what? I saw Jerry buy it, but I'm going to run to Kenny's in a moment of confusion. I'm going to say, I bought it as well. I bought it, or grab him, or twist around the truth. But this argument is not going to wash in court. What do you mean I justify? I justify that guy bought it, and then I ran and I bought it? So what's going to happen? I'm a lie. Then I'm going to say then the court is going to say, no, it's not going to help. Why would an oath help? There's no way to justify me doing this. That means that I am a real thief. A real thief. Because I saw Jerry buy it and then I ran and I said it, right? Okay, so therefore you would think that no. An oath is not going to help under this case. So therefore the Mishnah says yes. You still have to administer the oath. Even though that you don't have the possibility of one guy justifying this in his mind, and even though that this guy might be a bigger paskudnyak, one might be a bigger thief than the guy who ran and grabbed the found article, still, the Mishnah says you could administer the oath as long as one is not certain to be a thief. Once we've ascertained that this guy is a scoundrel, or we can't believe him, then an oath is not going to help. But until that point, an oath does help. Okay? Okay, so this argument does not apply. Apart from the loss...
With your glasses either.
No, I'm telling you, the words are so small. Because he writes over here, apart from the loss of the money paid, there is loss of the garment which the man who went to the trouble of buying it evidently needed it for his own use. So a guy bought the article, he needed it, the money is gone, he loses it. It's a terrible thing what happened over here. So you can't say that, you know what, that he has nothing to lose. Sure he has to lose, he loses the money. Right? Both paid the money and the garment. So now, okay, so let's go back to the other way. Let's flip it around. So teach us only about selling and buying. If you say about selling and buying where one of them is closer to a thief, they administer the oath. So certainly by lost and found, you would certainly administer the oath. Would everybody agree to that? Because lost and found is less of a liar. It's a little bit of a liar, but less of a liar. The guy who bought it and sold it, he's a real chazer, right? Because he knows that Pierre bought it and then he goes afterwards and buys it. Okay, and the other guy, the seller, okay, he might be a little bit of a, but the second guy, he certainly knows that he bought it second. So then the Gemara says, "V'itani mekach memker." But if on the other hand the Mishnah would have dealt solely with the case of buying and selling, hu derami rabbanan shvu aleo, we might assume that only in such a case did the rabbis impose an oath, mishum the Moirivi Omar, because he says to himself, Chavaroi, my neighbor, Dami Kayahiv. My neighbor already paid the price. Vano Dami Kayavina. And I am also willing to pay the price. Right? Hashto de tzricha ledidi, seeing that I need it, eshkele, ano, I will take it. V'chavaroi, but my friend, lezel v'litrach lisbon, let my friend go to the trouble of finding another garment. Right? So he's going to justify by saying, my friend is not really losing anything, right? He bought it, get his money back. He's prepared to buy it. I'm prepared to buy it. So why should I not buy it? I'm paying for it. It's not like I want to steal it. So again, he's justifying in his mind why he's doing what is correct. So the rabbis say in this case, you know what? Okay, if he's going to go through this whole bother of doing all of this stuff, and in his mind he justifies himself by saying, you know what? Let Pierre go and find another sweater. I'm willing to pay for it. I don't want to bargain on it. I'm not going to steal it. Let him go get it another sweater. What's going to happen? What are the rabbis going to do if both me and Pierre come to court? What are they going to make us do? Thank you. They're both going to make us take an oath because I'm justifying in my mind and Pierre says the same thing in his mind. Okay, the rabbi wants to buy it, but there's other many coats that, I like this coat. I saw it. I want it. I'm prepared to buy it. Avul mitzia, but in the case of lost and found, the leka l'meimer hachi, that is, but this argument does not apply, right? You can't say, you know what, look, he's not going to lose anything. Sure, he's going to lose something. See, in the case of buying and selling, you really don't lose anything because I get my money back and I go to Nordstrom's and I find the same coat and I buy it. What do I lose? I lose time. I have to time and energy because I got to go out, find the same coat, find the same thing, that bothered me. Okay?
It may not be on sale.
Right. What? What?
It may not be on sale.
It might not be. See, that would be a different question.
Am I entitled to?
Oh, okay. Now, what you would like to see is George Bush signature on a dollar bill, no? Because only dead presidents sign on the dollar bill. So
Seriously, damages. Or damages.
no, who are you the seller?
No, the buyer.
So who are you
The buyer
suing?
lost. The one
But-
that's just stressing out because I lost, I had to go out and look.
But you never bought it. I bought it. You see, you never bought it. You claim you bought it, but you're a liar. I bought it.
But I belong to the other congregation, not that.
Yeah. I'm from the lawyers'
I
congregations.
belong to the honest rabbi's congregation.
I'm telling you. Hachiyei malai. So therefore, we would say in this case of finding and losing that you wouldn't administer because this guy's a bigger liar. Think about it. Here's Jerry. He goes out there and he grabs the coat, and the coat is worth $200, and he's ready to put $200 in his pocket. I go and I grab the coat and I take literally out of his pocket $200. That's 100 at least. Right? I take 50% out of his pocket. So how am I justifying it by saying he didn't lose anything? Sure, he lost. He lost $100. So therefore, there might be reason, rationale here, and logic to say that I will not administer an oath to the two of you. Forget about it. Give me the coat, and until you could make a decision, no. But in that case, so therefore, each case has a reason why the rabbi should not administer an oath to these two guys. In the case of the finding, let's use Pierre and Jerry. Okay, here's the case of the finding. Jerry runs out, he grabs the article. Pierre walks by, sees Jerry is smiling to himself, and Jerry tells Pierre, I just found this article. Pierre makes a very quick calculation because he's a engineer that he could figure, Jerry found a $200 coat, and he said, you know what, I also found it. So now he grabs it. Jerry is astonished. He says, what do you mean? But Pierre justifies in his mind by saying, hey, you know what, Jerry, Chazer, you found a $200 coat, split it with me. You know what, I was here. I went with you on this ride. We both took the trail up into the canyon. I should also get something out of it. He justifies it by saying Jerry's not losing anything. Okay? Now that's true in one sense, right? In one sense, Jerry isn't losing anything because he never had the $200. Everything is found money. On the other hand, he is literally taking $100 out of Jerry's pocket. Why? Because Jerry owns the whole thing now. The fact is now that he went ahead and he took the coat and he grabbed half of the coat, meant to say, hey, he just stole the $100. So in one sense, in the first case, with the justification, we could say might work because Jerry really, it's found money. But on the other hand, he's really a thief. So there's a reason why we should not administer the oath, and there's a reason why we should administer the oath. One is, okay, you know what, he's not such a big thief, he justifies it. But the other hand, you know what, once Jerry grabbed the coat, he owns the coat, so it's just like stealing the coat off his back. What about in acquisitions? In acquisitions, the guy justifies it by saying, hey, you know what, look, I want to buy it and he wants to buy it. We both want to pay for it. He's not going to lose anything, right? I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to also buy it, and in case if I win, let the guy go out and buy it somewhere else. So in one hand, there's justification for that, right? You could see doing that, right, Pierre? You could go ahead and see something that's really nice and the guy is selling it, you're driving, let you know a beautiful pound of strawberries or a bushel of strawberries. So, you want it, you're going to a picnic and you're going to visit your mother-in-law and you forgot to buy her anything. So you see it now, okay, and you know that Kenny just bought it, but you don't care. You figure, you know what, Kenny still has time. He can go down the road and the Seinfeld, I don't know if you saw the Seinfeld, what do you call that, episode of where the one babka. Remember the one babka? You remember the guy, he wanted a babka to bring to a party? You see, and then he wanted a babka, and the lady bought the babka. He saw the babka, and the whole argument, and you know what, they must have studied Baba Metzia. They must have studied Baba Metzia, because he wanted the babka, the lady bought the babka, and he was going to grab it out of it. Okay, anyways, so here's a case. But on the other hand, what do you say? I already bought it, right? And you have to go ahead knowingly that I bought it already, and now you're going to force me to go out there and knowingly that you did something absolutely dishonest. There's a reason why you shouldn't really get anything out of it. I shouldn't administer the oath to you because I know that one of you was really lying here in court, right? I have a suspicion that you both didn't buy it at exactly the same moment. One of you really bought it and the other one came up with a really good idea and a really good argument why it should come to him. So I might say as a judge, I might have a rational reason for saying I don't want to administer the oath to you because one of you, Jerry, Pierre, one of you is not telling the truth. I mean, you both claim that you bought it, but one of you knows in your heart of hearts that you did something wrong, so I'm not going to administer the oath. That's why the Mishnah says no. As long as I can't ascertain, like in the case of the weaving and the knitting, whoever actually made it, only one of you could have really made it. But there is a possibility that both of you bought it, and maybe one of you unbeknownst to the other, and really both of you are honest guys, and you just didn't know. Okay, so I'm going to administer the oath to you. So we see in each case there's a reason why the rabbi should not administer the oath, and in another case, if you look at it differently through other glasses, why I should administer the oath. Because they're two really separate cases. So therefore the Mishnah says you need both. Because you can't deduct one from the other. And that's really what this piece of Gemara is all about. All right?
I think the avocado's easier.
But you see, here you have to think about it. Think about the difference of the mindset. You have to get into the mindset of a thief. You see, you have to get into the mindset of a guy that's going to do a little bit of this honest work. How far can we push a person? Okay, you know what, you saw it. You know what, you know the other person grabbed it, but you know what, you really wanted it, and why do you have to be such a chazer, Jerry? I walked up the mountain with you, and I saw it with you. You know what, okay, so let's say it's not a coat, let's say it's a diamond. Okay, let's say it's a diamond. That's why when my friend and I, whenever we go fundraising together, we want to stop off and we buy 2 lottery tickets. And we put our names on it. I don't want later on the guy's going to say, yeah, I bought it, but that was my ticket. So we each put our names on each lottery ticket. Now, if I'm a nice guy and I win the lottery, you know what? I'll say, you know what? So it's like the guy, it's like the husband who was home and the wife runs and she says, Sam, pack your bags. I just won the lottery. So Sam says, should I pack for the mountains or should I pack for the beach? She says, I don't give a damn. Just get the hell out of here.
I actually found a diamond. I was going to visit Jenny and Sarah.
Yeah.
I looked down in my car. I found a diamond ring. It was a real diamond ring.
No way.
I
And?
picked it up. It was their next door neighbor. She had taken her
Oh.
groceries out of the car.
And she's lucky that you were honest. She was lucky you were honest. You could have pawned it.
Somebody could have run over and
That would have been finished.
she
Yeah.
must have slipped off her hand.
Why? Yeah. Now that's things happen. Things happen. You know, but that's.
Just don't lose
In
that.
Texas, there was a court case where two oil companies were buying another oil company.
Oh, that was Pennzoil
Yeah, right.
in Texaco.
And it was,
$11 billion.
and it was on a handshake, and the other one was on another thing. And in Texas, on a handshake, that's a contract. I think Texaco lost or something.
You know who made in that money? You know who made in that case? The lawyers. You know what the bill of the lawyers were in that case? Take a guess what the legal bills were. $400 million. They billed them. $400 million. How do you even get law bills up to $400 million? But that's what they, oh, maybe it was $40 million. No, I think it was, wait.
Still, that's a lot of.
It was, what? Stamps. So it was a huge amount of huge amount of money.
But the argument is just like this.
It's just like this, that, you know.
Now, let me ask you, the term judicial.
What we're going to do is we're going to stop here this evening because I think there's a lot to think about. Take it home. Please take the Gemara home with you. Try to study it over at least once during this week because next week we'll pick it up from here, okay?